Go ahead, Edgar.
So I got a question on Nostra
Question.
Aetate. I'm Orthodox, but I was previously Roman Catholic. So I hear the argument that Nostra Aetate is not dogmatic. So what's your thoughts on that? Does that like help their case in any way?
No, it doesn't. It's not just Nostra Aetate. It's also Lumen Gentium. Every one of the documents of Vatican II is signed off with full apostolic approval for the entire Roman Catholic Church with Petrine authority, and it deals with faith and morals. Even if you could argue that it was not extraordinary magisterium, even if, for the sake of argument, and I don't grant that it is, even if it was ordinary teaching, you still have to submit to ordinary teaching with docility. So it doesn't matter. It's a deflection.
Okay. Thank you. That's clarifying. That's actually that's helpful. Yeah. I
Yeah.
got one last
Roman
question
Catholic
for you.
canon law, I think it's what is it, canon 752 says that you have to submit, even if it's not ex cathedra or even if it's not magisterium, you have to submit to the ordinary teaching, whether you believe it or not. That's their whole thing. And notice how many of them don't care and don't abide by it. So it's just a joke.
Text like interpretive? Like how does that
What?
work?
What?
Do they believe like the text is interpretive, or it says as is? Because for example, like the word adore, right? They interpret that many ways. It's like cheap for them.
In their own, there's no adore. There's no cheat code there. It doesn't, like, the word is used for them for worship, adoration of the sacrament. It's a worship term. That's even worse for them.
Yeah, I see that.
Okay.
Okay.
Notice right here, canon 752 says your intellect and will must be submitted, even if it's not dogmatic, even if it's just normative teaching. So the whole system is predicated on, even if you think they're wrong, you submit. There is no I do my own thing in the Roman Catholic Church. It's all bullshit.
Okay, yeah. Thank you. That helps. Yeah.
Yeah, canon 752 of their canon law. And notice they don't care. Like, you could tell them this a million times a day and they don't give a shit. They just say, I don't care. Errol, what's up? I expect better from my Slav bros. Errol, what's up?
Hey, Jay. So I believe in Old Earth Creed as well as Catholics. I'd be happy to
as well as
disagree
what?
with either of those positions.
As well as what?
I'm also a Catholic, so I'd be able to, depending on which topic you want to.
You know I'm going to go to the papacy, dog.
Okay, all right. So, yeah, I mean, you actually had a guy on here earlier, and you were talking about how Pope basically, a lot of the Vatican II documents, even if they were ordinary, they're still binding. I just don't see that. If it's not infallible, I don't see it as a defeater for the position. Because,
well, first of all, it is, but even if it wasn't, you don't have to follow canon 752.
I'm saying you still have to follow it, but it's not a defeater for the whole church and theology.
Okay, so you have to, so I have to submit to Muslims, Catholics, and Hindus worshiping and adoring the same God.
Well, Muslims are separate in the documents.
No, they're not. No, they're not.
In terms of parts.
No, they're not.
In terms of the specifics of the language.
No, they're not. It says Hindus have refuge in God in love and trust.
Yeah, I mean,
I
don't have a huge problem with the language, to be perfectly honest.
I don't care whether you have the problem with the language. What's the argument that makes this work? How do Hindus love God in the same way?
They explore or try to apprehend. They're basically they're like looking at God through like a keyhole, basically.
Yeah,
like
but it says a flight to God with love and trust.
Yeah, I mean, they're trying to. They're trying to apprehend God.
Where in Hinduism is capital G God?
Sorry, say that again one more time.
Hindus seek freedom from the anguish of our human condition through ascetic practices or profound meditation or a flight to, quote, capital G God with love and trust.
Yeah, a flight to God doesn't actually mean they reach it, right?
But it doesn't matter, because there's no ascetic practices or meditation in Hinduism that gives you access to God in love and trust. It says capital G.
Yeah, I mean.
So is Hinduism a demonic religion?
I
You don't know? You don't know?
I'd probably say so. I mean,
Probably.
I
How
don't
did
think,
how did the Roman Catholic Church prior to Vatican II consider religions like Hinduism?
I mean, pagans generally, it was the responsibility of temporal rulers to kind of root them out.
What are you talking about? How did Roman Catholicism theologically view religions like Hinduism prior to Vatican II?
Well, not favorably. I mean,
No, were
they?
they demonic? Why can you not just say they were demonic? Obviously, they're called demonic.
Sure.
Okay, so they're demonic, but through demonic demonism, there's a flight to God with love and trust.
Well, I mean, people are making mistakes, and they're trying to, like, I mean,
so in the ritual where you burn your wife, is that kind of like the Eucharist, or is Pachamama kind of like Mary?
No, I don't think it is.
Is Pachamama like Mary though? Hold on. So Lofton argue that Pachamama is kind of like Mary because they're both women. So is that how it works?
I wouldn't agree with that, but
well, why not? But it's the same line of argument. Why is a person hold on? If a person is engaging in seeking God in love and trust through Pachamama, why wouldn't it be like Mary?
Because it's not the mother of God. It's not. It's
but who's the referent of the deity in Hinduism then? You just destroyed your own argument right there because it's not God in Hinduism.
Okay, first of all, my whole argument was that these documents aren't infallible anyway. So
First of all, yes, they are. Do you know there's like 5 statements from the papacy post-Vatican II reaffirming that they are binding on you? Where do you get that they're not infallible?
I said infallible, not binding. I agree that they're binding.
Where do you get that they're not? So wait, you're bound by things that are wrong?
You could be, yes.
So the Church of Rome errs?
Does the Church of Rome? Yes, it can. Not
theologically. The Church of Rome errs in faith and morals.
It can have.
Have you read Vatican I?
Not every statement from the Magisterium is infallible.
No, see, there you go. Now you just shot yourself in the foot because anything by definition magisterium cannot have error because you have it. You're now rejecting Vatican I. Vatican I says the ordinary and the extraordinary magisterium are indefectible, inerrant, and infallible. So you're not even a Roman Catholic.
Inerrant and the ordinary magisterium is infallible. That's what Vatican.
You didn't know that?
The ordinary
you didn't know that Vatican I says that?
Okay, well, I could put it up right now. I mean, I know it's a short document, but
but you didn't know that? You're trying to debate this? You're trying to debate this, and you didn't know this. This is why I have little patience and respect for you guys, is that you don't even know your own theology and you want to debate. You don't know that Vatican I teaches clear as day that ordinary magisterium is also inerrant, binding, and infallible?
I know universal.
That's what I'm talking about. Universal ordinary magisterium.
Okay. So I wouldn't hold to be universal ordinary magisterium. You
wouldn't hold what?
I wouldn't hold Vatican II to be universal ordinary magisterium.
Okay. Is it from the papal chair binding on the whole church on faith and morals?
It's pastoral.
That has nothing to do with. That has nothing to do with it. That has nothing to calling the council pastoral has absolutely nothing to do with whether it is magisterial and under the charism of Peter. Is it from the chair? Is it from the chair of Peter for the whole church on faith and morals? Because that's all that's required according to Vatican I to be under the charism.
Faith and morals would be the part that is maybe more contentious because.
So you don't think the worship of God is under faith and morals? It's not just Nostra Aetate, it's also Lumen Gentium 16. You don't think that both of those are count as faith and morals?
I think a lot of these documents that talk about how we should interact, think about other religions, trying to how we can outreach.
This has nothing to do with outreach. This is the opposite of that. That's because have you read Mortalium Animos?
I believe I have. I just
what is that about?
I don't recall
what is that about?
Exactly.
What is it about? You've read it. What's it about?
I don't recall. So,
well, how do you know you've read it then?
Welcome to do so.
Mortalium Animos is the 1928 condemnation of interfaith gatherings and worship services. So it's a condemnation. Right. It's a condemned position in 1928. So if it's now approved at Vatican II to do the opposite of what Mortalium Animos says, how is that an outreach when it's condemned as not an outreach in 1928? It's a surrendering of the faith.
Yeah, I mean, I would probably say that again, I don't know if the teachings in Vatican II are universal.
What does that have? That has nothing. So now you're just deflecting away from the argument that I just made.
So yes, it could be an error. It could be an error.
Okay, are the documents of Vatican II about faith and morals for the whole church from the Chair of Peter?
About faith and moral from the whole church.
Do you have to repeat every statement?
You could argue that, but you could also argue that they're essential.
Where are you getting that it's not? Where are you getting the argument that it's not binding or infallible, or that you don't have to hold, that it can have error? Where are you getting this? You're just repeating something Trent Horn said? Where do you get that?
No.
You didn't even know what Vatican I said.
I didn't say, okay, separate binding from infallible. Binding, yes, it is certainly.
Well, dude, you understand that if you're bound by it, even if you think it's fallible, then the papacy is binding you to error on theology, and it's denying Vatican I. Any way you go, this is screwed.
Okay, so your argument is that if you're even in the short term bound to any sort of error that counts as,
dude, it's errors on faith and morals. That's the thing that I'm not talking about. Can Ratzinger have a private opinion about the text of Genesis that's not binding? It doesn't matter. These are documents that bind the entire church, and Rome has bound everybody to confess this and act on this for 70 plus years. So that means that Rome has bound the entire world to countless errors for decades. That's impossible according to Vatican I.
Yeah. I see your argument. I don't really. I understand where you're coming from.
So in 1928, was it true that interfaith gatherings were abominable and apostasy?
Yeah, I mean,
okay, so in 1928, that's true. And that's on faith and morals. That's Mortalium Animos by Pius XI. But a couple decades later, the opposite is now true.
Yeah, I mean, no, I see the difficulty you're pointing out for sure.
Now, how does the papacy act on these Vatican II documents? Does it go in synagogues and pray? Does it go pray towards Mecca? Does it participate in voodoo services?
Yes, I'm well aware.
There you go. Yeah. So appreciate your call. Thank you so much for calling in. Go check them out. Aaron, what's up, dog? It's your boy Aaron right here. Yo, I'm a Levite. This is Aaron. What's up?
Yo. So I'm a Protestant, and I'm considering Catholicism and Orthodoxy. Mm-hmm. Specifically, I'm leaning more towards Catholicism. Mm. What would your non-circular historical method be that identifies Orthodoxy as a true church?
Well, if we're all trying to be in league with the church of the first 1,000 years, everybody who's looking at Orthodoxy versus Catholicism admits that we'll determine that by what the church of the first 1,000 years is. If the Roman Catholic Church contradicts the teaching of what it itself taught on fundamental issues, then I would say that's an easy kill shot. Would you agree or no?
Yeah. What are those issues?
I'll give you an easy one. The death penalty was believed in and exercised by the Roman Church for almost 2 millennia, and now it is, quote, against the gospel. That is a moral, theological contradiction.
Well, would that be like I think that if it's like a dogmatic contradiction.
No, you don't understand. The Roman Church is inerrant on faith and morals. So it can't prescribe a religious, theological, moral position on the death penalty for centuries and millennia, and then reverse and say the opposite, that it's now against the gospel. That's faith and morals. You understand? The Roman Church is infallible and indefectible and inerrant on faith and morals.
Okay, so what's the argument that that's been something that's been taught legitimately from the, like, how do the Catholics typically respond to that?
They don't have argument. The arguments are retarded. Trent Horn says, pick any way to make it work that you want. That's his actual answer.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll look into that. I don't.
Yeah, I'll give you another one. You have to believe in the temporal supremacy of the Roman bishop from the 11th to 13th century all the way up until Pius IX. And now you don't have to believe in that to be saved. So how do I have to believe in the temporal supremacy of the Roman bishop? And now I don't to be saved. Chirp. Chirp. Yo, bro, change your batteries, dog. You want me to send you I'll send you a 9-volt, dog. Over there chirping. Just chirping. Do chirping. Like Captain Crack Rock on our song. Just beep. Just beep. Who's next? Who disagree, dog? Come and chirp at me, dog. Listen, best argument against the Roman Catholic Church, go to it. Go check it out and find out what it's actually like. Because guess what? It's not what the sales pitch people on the internet tell you.